Welcome to Vermonters in Business, where we highlight some of the very best business leaders in our state and the amazing things they're doing in their communities. People of Vermont, welcome to Vermonters in Business, where our mission is to highlight the businesses and business leaders in our state that are doing amazing work in both their careers and their communities. I am your host, Drew Kinney. I'm a 7th generation Vermonter and a business owner in the state, and I am super excited for our show today. But first, please join me in welcoming our co-host, Travis Spencer. He is a serial entrepreneur. He is a local business and enthusiast, and around here we know him as a world-class insurance agent. Travis, how are we doing today, Mr. King of the Hot Take? What do you got for us?
Oh, I got a great hot take today because we got coffee on the mind today.
Heck
and
yes.
one of my biggest pet peeves, I'm a new coffee drinker. I only drink cold brew. I'm still not on the warm coffee, hot coffee train yet, but just black cold brew. But one of my biggest pet peeves when I go to the coffee shop or the drive-thru or everything is there's a lot of people out there who I don't really think like coffee. They like the idea of coffee, but they really want liquid cake.
Yeah.
That's what they're going for. With a little coffee taste in it. Like, give me 100 grams of sugar. But I see some of that stuff that comes out of the coffee shops and, whipped cream and caramel and everything. I'm just like, you really don't like coffee.
Yeah.
So
there's some, who knows how real they are, but there's some like TikTok accounts of like people that just post like the unhinged orders that they get from like Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be like, the entire thing is full of cream and sugar to like here, and there's like room for like 4 ounces of coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, you can have something else in it. You can just heavy cream, maybe some type of milk, MCT oil, butter, whatever. But yeah, the amount of stuff that I see people with coffee.
Good hot take. All right, Travis, we got a great show today. Joining us today is Charlotte from Kestrel Coffee. How are we doing today?
Great, thanks.
You haven't done many podcasts before?
No.
No, so this is your first one.
Indeed.
And you're originally from White Plains, New York, and you're now in South Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that journey.
Sure. So my husband Johnny and I moved in end of 2017. So we met in New York in the White Plains area. He's originally from Mississippi, and he went to NECI, New England Culinary Institute.
Okay, yeah.
Back when NECI was around.
Yeah, my cousin went there.
Nice, yeah. So he and I decided we were ready for a change, leaving the White Plains area, and came up to Burlington, and the rest is history. We came up here with the intention of opening Kestrel Coffee Roasters.
Oh, really?
So we literally put our jobs, bought a house, not
awesome.
in that order.
Yeah.
and then opened Kestrel.
I was just going to ask, like, what spurred the whole idea of Kestrel Coffee,
So yeah, he had been doing coffee in the New York area for over 5 years at the time, I think, and we met in working at a fine dining restaurant, so we both loved hospitality and service and coffee and food and everything, and we were like, we should just do this on our own. This is fun, and so we did.
That's awesome. Well, for every show, whenever somebody comes on, one of our guests, we have them go through something we call the Vermonter Hot Seat, where people get to just learn a little bit about who you are as a Vermonter. So are you ready for the Vermonter Hot Seat?
All
right,
sure.
Let's do it. Pancakes or waffles? What are you having with your Vermont maple syrup?
Pancakes, usually.
Okay, all right, nice. Or probably coffee now, right?
Yeah.
And a perfect day for you, is it a winter day at the mountain or a summer day at the lake?
Oh, that's tough. I'll say summer day at the lake, but it's a tough call.
Yeah, do you guys ski or snowboard?
We hike.
Hike.
And
nice.
have skied.
All the way through the winter still?
Usually, yes. We take our corgi out for a very long walk.
That's
so
awesome.
it's not always deep in the woods, but it's, he's short, so deep in the snow.
There's a deep snow limit with a corgi for sure.
We were measuring the height of the snowfalls last year in corgi heights.
Yeah.
That's half a corgi.
That's awesome. All right, and it's your birthday dinner. You can go anywhere in the state. Where are you headed?
Anywhere in the state?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I'll go with the Trattoria Italia in Burlington.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's a good spot. All right, and last one. All right, what is your creamy order and from where?
Oh, Morse Farms Classic Maple Creamy.
Okay, nice.
Second would be Canteen Creamy.
Okay.
Classic maple.
Yeah, a lot of conviction there. I like it.
Yes.
I have a lot of opinions.
Yeah. Maybe we should get your top 5 or something like that.
No, really, it's just the top 2. too.
All right.
But, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you survived the Vermonter hot seat. Awesome job.
I didn't have to pronounce any cities or.
No,
No,
that's
yeah,
good.
that would be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Barry.
That is a good idea. Point them on a map or something.
That's
Yeah,
right.
All right, Travis. Well, let's dive in and talk a little bit about the coffee.
Yeah, so you said you had the plan in mind when you moved, so just kind of walk us through the beginning of how it all started and what you guys do and what you offer.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, Johnny had been roasting coffee already for several years and doing a lot of other coffee stuff. We were living so close to New York City at a time where the third wave of coffee was really rocking and rolling. So we were just going to latte or throwdowns in the city and spending a lot of time with a lot of really cool coffee and hospitality people. So when we were thinking about doing our own thing, it was really important to us to have both the roaster and the cafe together. And that was something we were non-negotiable on, where we want people to be able to at least see the roaster, which is what we ultimately ended up with at our South Burlington location over at Tech Park. So we have a big window where you can see through directly to the roaster. So Johnny's on display when he's roasting, and the cafe is right next to it. So we felt like, especially not just here, but also in general, there's still quite a bit of information that people don't have around roasting and enjoying coffee. The fact that it is an agricultural product is news to most.
Right.
It's kind of frightening to think about it.
It's a cherry, and the coffee cherry, like the beans are inside of it, and all of the processing around it, just to kind of narrow the gap a little between people consume daily with or without sugar and milk, and what it is. So we love talking about coffee. We love educating people. We ourselves love continuing to learn. Things are always changing in the coffee world. So that was how we started with this idea of coffee and roaster together somewhere in the Burlington area, and then got here and started looking for a commercial space and ended up at Tech Park, which is it's an office park, so there's a lot of businesses in that building and around the Tech Park area by the Whale's Tails. And we worked with our landlord, Rearc, who's been so great over the years, and they really saw us as an amenity for the businesses there, and also saw our potential. And they were right.
Nice.
So since then, we opened 2 other locations, downtown on Pine Street and Maple Street, and a 4th one is on the way.
And where's that going to be?
That will be at Leahy Burlington International Airport. So we're
That's
opening.
super cool.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Hard to imagine that like 8 weeks from now we'll potentially be open, but we're looking at mid-September for an opening. And the space will go up very quickly because we're going to be just above security in what is now a wide open space. So essentially it's a kiosk with walls. And it'll go up in like 4 to 6 days roughly, plus some finishing touches. So it's pretty wild.
Very nice.
That'll be awesome. Roll through security, grab your coffee, and you're good to go.
You can even order in advance while you're waiting in line at security.
I like that. Yeah.
I like to make it easy.
And so you obviously have to-go drinks, but you also sell beans themselves, and what other products do you have available?
Sure, yeah. So we do, on the coffee roasting side of things, we offer at any given time usually between 3 and 4 single origin coffees, so coffees that are coming from one specific farm or lot, as well as 2 to 3 blends. At any given time, we sell those in 12-ounce bags and 5-pound bags. We do wholesale coffee as well to restaurants, cafes, and offices. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And we also have a subscription service as well, so people can get their coffee either shipped or they can pick up at the cafe on a regular set schedule. And on the cafe side of things, all of our food is homemade, so all of your traditional coffee drinks, lattes, etc., and delicious assortment of scones, cookies, muffins, sandwiches, soups in the wintertime. And it's all homemade by us in South Burlington. So
one of the questions I was going to ask is about the single origin coffee. It's something you see a lot, and I don't think probably people understand what that means. Can you speak to that a little bit so people have a better understanding?
So single origin coffee really just means that the beans in that bag, the person who roasted them should know exactly where they came from.
Okay.
Like you could go onto Google Maps and put in the longitude and latitude kind of thing. So, and depending on the country of origin, there's quite a bit of variance there, but generally speaking, it's either a specific farm, a co-op of farms, or potentially a specific lot from a larger farm area. So the reason that single origins are sought after is you can really highlight, just like with wine or other specialty products, you can really highlight the terroir in that region that it comes from, the processing method as well, the way that the beans are processed and dried, whether they ferment at all of that contributes to how the ultimate cup is. So it's something that we look for because it's also tied to the quality. Also, coffee, I should mention, is graded, so it's also a traded commodity. Johnny happens to be a Q grader, which is what they call the roughly 6,000 people in the world who are trained and certified to assess coffee's quality.
Wow.
They grade it out of a scale of 1 to 100. I don't know that you can get a 1. I guess one could get a 1. I don't know. I'd have to ask Johnny. I'm outside of my comfort zone here. Anyway, anything scoring an 80 or above is considered specialty coffee, so actually specialty coffee. All of the coffees we buy are specialty.
Okay.
Even the coffees that go into our blends are also specialty. In fact, all of our blends right now contain some of the other single origins that we have right now.
Yeah.
So.
I never knew it was graded. That's very cool.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question with the blend. So my assumption is the blends would just be multiple origins that you're putting together.
And the thing I would add there is, generally speaking, for something like an espresso blend, which we have called Faster Than Light, anything that's intended for use in espresso generally has like something from Brazil or South America. The coffee from Brazil is known for the body that it lends to coffee drinks. So I'm simplifying this quite a bit. So for any of the coffee geeks listening out there, it's cool.
She needs to simplify it for us.
That's right.
So brewing espresso is such an intense form of brewing coffee, so you really need a coffee that can stand up to that level of intense pressure, and something that isn't like too delicate and floral, like that sort of thing. So.
Yeah.
And the roasting process, not to get too in depth in it, but kind of walk us through like the time frame. How long does it take from getting the coffee in and everything? Just kind of walk through that.
Sure. Getting the coffee in from origin, you mean? So like months, depending on where we're getting the coffee from. We do pre and post ship samples, meaning that Johnny is getting samples of the coffee before it gets on a boat, and then also after, so we can assess the quality in case there's damage or things of that nature. Generally speaking, for us, we want to be able to use the coffee within 4 to 6 months of receiving it to our door. After, again, it's an agricultural product, so the longer it sits, the more it starts to degrade. And as far as the roasting process itself, we use a Loring roaster, which is a super highly energy efficient roaster. It doesn't roast the same way a more traditional roaster that many folks might be familiar with seeing at like a local coffee shop where they have, it's like it's a ceramic burner and it kind of spins around.
Yeah.
So that is a completely valid way of roasting. The reason this is different is it uses more convection instead of conduction. So we heat the air really, really hot, and then there's lots of fans in the machine that just push the air around, push the beans around, so everything cooks really evenly, and also prevents things like scorching, etc., where you can actually have like a burnt note in coffee. So in any case, all that is to say that the roast is roughly 10 to 15 minutes, so it's pretty fast.
Yeah. All right.
Our machine is not ginormous. We're doing 30 pounds at a time. It's also not the smallest machine, so we're right there in the middle. And we blend pre-roasting, so Johnny will put the green beans from the various origins into one bucket and then roast them. Also, post-roast blending is totally valid as well. It's just how we do it.
So, because it's an agricultural commodity, how much planning, obviously, seasonality and weather and everything like that, where you're getting, like, how much forward planning do you need as far as, like, when we talk to some brewers, it's like, oh, they're making their fall beers in the spring, and getting that ready. Do you guys have a seasonal cycle of the types of coffee you're making, and how much planning goes into that?
So yes and no. Seasonal in the sense that, yes, of course, coffee is also seasonal, so different origins are releasing fresh harvests at different times of year depending on where it is. and not seasonal in the sense that throughout the year Johnny is paying attention to the market and what the market's trading at. For specialty, it's whatever the market is at plus a differential, so he's constantly keeping an eye on that. We try, and again, this is for our size and scale, so if we double, then perhaps double in size, perhaps with the opening of the airport, we could find additional efficiencies or cost savings for sure, or buy more at a time. We're typically buying 2 to 3 pallets at a time. So he's in touch with his various importers and traders who are working with us. So, and he has now 10 plus years experience of buying coffee. So, which is, I mean, for any aspiring roasters out there, I think that you can totally, you know, I don't want to say get taken advantage of, but you need to know what you're buying, and you need to know that you're paying the right price for it. And that can be a really hard decision to make. So, and coffee is not inexpensive, especially now.
Yeah, I'm sure if you put 10 coffee beans in front of Drew or I, we probably would have no idea what we're looking at.
So it'd be a fun experiment.
It does pay to know what you're doing. The shelf life of the coffee itself. So is there a difference from a whole bean to ground? How long you can keep those things in packaging, stuff along those lines?
Yeah, so we bag everything, like what goes to the groceries, etc., is whole bean unless the customer requests ground. The reason is whole bean, of course, does last longer because you haven't broken down the product yet. And also because people have different brewing methods at home. So we prefer to start whole bean, and then if they need it ground, they can ask for it ground, come to the cafes, or obviously grind themselves.
Yeah.
The shelf life, we've had coffee of ours that's well over a year old, and it tastes great.
Yeah.
However, we typically tell people to consume within 2 to 3 months for the freshest product, and the keep it at room temperature, airtight, sealed. A fun myth-busting little moment for you. So a lot of people have heard the recommendation or the anti-recommendation to freeze your coffee.
Right.
Freezing is fine. It's the defrosting that could be a problem,
Okay.
so especially in a hot, humid summer here.
Yeah.
Exactly. You'll have moisture on the beans, and then that can turn to mold and provide off flavors, etc. So it's not so much that freezing itself is bad, it's that the defrosting can cause off flavors. So, yeah.
Probably don't freeze it.
Yeah.
Probably just drink the coffee, or buy less at a time. Also fine. Sometimes people assume they really have, like, that's why we have the subscription program for people who go through like a bag a week or 2 bags a week, or every other week rather. It's a great way to keep your coffee fresh, and
in regards to brewing, I know my wife always used to be a drip coffee person, but now she's a pour over person, and she said it was substantially different in taste. Do you have a preference? Do you see any trends or changes in the consumer when it comes to how they
This is going to bring out the coffee snobs for sure.
Right.
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
For at-home brewing methods, the number one thing is drink what you enjoy.
Right.
If you're someone who enjoys getting into the hobby of coffee, go for it, and there's a wide world out there for you. Start with a scale, start with a kettle, and a pour over like your wife does. A pour over is essentially the same as drip coffee, so that's when you go to a diner and you see the classic drip coffee machine. That is a pour over. It's just automated instead of your hand doing the pouring. So that's another misconception out there. And obviously, when you're doing it by hand, you have a lot more control over all of the variables, not the least of which are grind size, amount of coffee, how fast you're pouring, how much agitation, water temperature, etc., humidity, and all the things. So there's just a zillion variables when brewing. For someone who's looking to get into coffee at home or wants to learn more and experience some of the differences that we talked about, maybe they've got 2 single origins from a local coffee shop or a coffee roaster and they want to kind of try both side by side, pour over is a great way to do that. So is drip coffee. For people who are like, I'm good. Just keep doing what you're doing, and maybe occasionally clean your machine. That's something else that comes up a lot. Is the cleaning and maintenance can get the better of people, and your coffee will taste better if you have not cleaned your machine in many years. Just go for it. You don't even have to buy a product for it. Just give it a good clean.
And what about trends in this? In the store, with people coming in, there's obviously a lot of different ways you can get your coffee. You can get a latte, you can get espresso, you can get regular coffee, Americano, whatever it might be. Do you see, you guys have been open since 2018. Have you seen any change in the consumer's appetite for certain things? Or?
A little bit, I'd say. I'm so glad we're over the non-dairy hump. Like when we
Yeah.
first opened, it was people expected literally every non-dairy option under the sun.
Right.
We are, and they are expensive. We have a 75-cent upcharge for non-dairy because it costs that much more.
Yeah.
So we early on decided we're just doing oat milk and almond milk.
Right.
Let's start there for non-dairy alternatives. And we just stuck with it, and it's been totally fine. And
Yeah.
I think maybe we've had one or two customers a little sad that they haven't seen soy milk or coconut milk or whatever their preference is. But I think we're kind of over. People get, okay, I'm going to go to this coffee shop, and they're going to
Yeah.
have
Right.
their non-dairy options. So that's a pleasant change. I think we've advanced as a society.
Yeah.
And we're happy to offer the non-dairy options. We just can't offer everything under the
Right.
sun.
Right.
I think more and more people are experiencing cold brew out in the world due to some of the very big coffee chains out there, bringing it forward and making it really accessible for people. And I also love cold brew. We have a fantastic cold brew at Kestrel. It's 72-hour. Actually, we just increased it to like an 84-hour steep.
Wow.
And it's delicious. And it's also one of those really flexible drinks where you can, if you like your coffee less strong, you could dilute it further. You add more milk, whatever. You let it steep longer or shorter. You refrigerate it or you don't refrigerate it. All of these variations can change the product and make it your own. And that's something, too, I think it is really approachable for people that you can just put a pot on your counter at home and experience cold brew in a few days and enjoy it.
And that's one of the things that I'm going to be the coffee snob now.
Yeah.
Because people
Ready?
be like, I drink cold brew. Oh, you drink iced coffee. Oh, no. There's
Yeah.
a big difference. Because
Yeah.
I've been to places like, oh, yeah, we got that. And like, no, this isn't iced coffee.
Yeah.
Can you talk to how the process of cold brew? Because
Yes.
it doesn't touch the heat, right? Is that
Correct.
Okay.
Cold brew is literally cold brewing coffee. So taking ground coffee, usually on the coarser side, the same that something around what you do for like a French press or even coarser. As coarse as your grinder goes. And you're letting it sit either, depending on where you live in the world and the time of year, either on your counter or in your refrigerator. And you're just letting it steep at a colder temperature. So obviously because it's colder, the extraction is going to go slower than when you're pouring 203-degree cup water over your coffee. It will not happen in a few minutes. And the result is it's also releasing most cold brew methods. There is no actual paper filter or anything involved. Some you can filter at the end, but most probably don't. So a lot of those oils and naturally occurring oils in the coffee are going to stay in the solution as opposed to being filtered out in a paper filter. And that leaves you with this really sort of unctuous, delicious, almost creamy. The mouthfeel is, I think, what a lot of people are interested in. It is like a thicker cup.
Yeah.
And again, the flexibility, you can dilute as much or as little as you like, with or without ice, with or without milk, and it is a really delicious outcome and remarkably different from the iced coffee, which generally speaking is either brewed drip coffee that you then chill or brewed drip coffee where you're brewing it over ice. And that ice is accounting for quite a bit of the water that you would normally use to brew with. So,
Is there any truth to having special beans for cold brew? Because you see places market, these are cold brew beans.
good.
For making
question.
cold brew at
Interesting.
home.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Marketing.
Is it really special for cold brew, or can I buy any bean and do my home cold brew?
The short answer is you can buy any bean and do your cold brew at home the way you like it. That said, related to what I was talking about with the espresso, that's another myth actually. Some people think you have to have a bag of coffee that says the word espresso on it in order to brew it as espresso.
Right.
That is not true. Any bean can be ground on a fine setting. This is assuming we're talking about at a coffee shop where you have 9 bars of pressure going through a small puck of coffee. That would be the method I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that yields a very specific sort of result. I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just the bean.
Oh, yeah, yes, the beans.
Cold brew.
So some people would prefer, like again, this is personal preference. You might really like, so at our cafes we use that fast and light espresso blend, just those
Sure.
beans to make the cold brew because we really like the outcome of that flavor. If you use a single origin coffee that's really light and fruity and acidic, and all of those notes will also come through in the cold brew. So you might like a really light and bright cold brew, and that could be for you. So I'm guessing that the marketing on those bags is indicating that you are going to have some of those more caramely, broader, richer notes that tend to be in drinks like espresso. But it's such an oversimplification, so
Right.
just try and see what you like.
Well, and the last thing that's probably going to be controversial is flavored coffees.
Mhm.
So you see now, obviously, a lot of blended. You've got blueberry, you've got apple,
Yeah.
you've got everything now. Your take, your feelings on those? I mean, are those something? Again, is it a marketing thing? Because I know my wife's tried some. She's like, I don't taste anything in this stuff.
Really?
So in roasted bags of coffee that state flavors are added, I would generally say, first off, we don't do that.
Right.
And those are flavors that are typically added in some kind of alcohol-based spray that's like the coffee is roasted, it comes out of the roaster and then gets sprayed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an artificial flavor additive. We don't feel like that. We feel like that, A, covers up what the coffee is
Sure.
trying to tell us. Again, we're using specialty coffees to begin with, so this would be taking like a beautiful Chardonnay and then,
Putting whipped cream on top.
for example.
Yeah.
So we really want to showcase the coffee itself. Now, when it comes to making drinks, we love adding flavors because coffee is one of those things that you don't even expect the flavor combinations,
Right.
and we love to wow people. So you mentioned blueberry. We just today started our Bloob, which is a blueberry syrup with cold brew and a splash of cream. It's amazing. And it's like blueberry, but also not. It's
Right.
kind of crazy. We also have a summery drink called the Yellow Jacket, which is half lemonade, half cold brew. That's either a love it or hate it. Some people are like, you blew my mind, this is amazing. And others are like, no thanks.
Yeah.
It's a different
So-
Arnold Palmer.
Yes.
exactly. And then like lattes and all of the fun flavors, pumpkin spice latte, etc. We do that in the fall. We make our own syrup with real pumpkin puree. It's freaking delicious.
Yeah.
Every year we make one to we test the first one, make sure we're on point, and we're like, wow, this is why people like this drink. It's delicious.
Yeah.
But adding those flavors to your regular coffee as opposed to trying to flavor the coffee.
Correct. We don't.
beans
We
itself.
we would not flavor the beans ever at Kestrel, and I think generally speaking, I would encourage people to expand their coffee drinking horizons.
Definitely,
Yeah.
I agree.
So I guess my question to you is, obviously you're in the coffee industry, so when you wake up in the morning and do you make a cup at home, or do you wait till you get to the shop?
Wait till we get to the shop.
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
even have coffee in our house
Yeah,
anymore.
that's good. I was like
When
the
you've
chef
got-
thing. Yeah.
When you've got like a $10,000 espresso machine at work, just wait
Well, that
till
was
you
gonna
get
be, if
there.
you're like, I'm making it at home, that was gonna be my next question, is like, how are you making it,
So again, we joked earlier about not drinking the profits, but we do both enjoy coffee
Yeah.
just recreationally and also for assessment as well.
Right.
So we are genuinely assessing the coffee when
Yeah.
we have a sip and notice something's off or something's different with the latest roast or something like that. Most of the time though, Johnny will try an espresso and be like, oh, it's delicious.
Yep.
But that still counts as quality control.
Yeah.
So yes, but each morning I have an Americano and it's perfect.
Nice.
And we also drink a lot of pour overs. And again, it's a great way to assess our own coffee.
Yeah.
And like today I have an iced latte, which is also delicious. Favorite summer drink would be an iced maple latte.
Okay.
Our maple is from Brandon Family Farms.
Nice.
So I get some Vermont points.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So do you say the espresso machine was 10,000? Is that what?
I'm half kidding. I mean, it's in there somewhere.
Because we had someone who served preemies, and I was like, well, what's a soft serve machine go for? And I was blown away. It was because it was like 25
remember,
grand or
yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
no.
like, well, how for the machines
Espresso
you're using?
machines retail are anywhere between like 12K and up.
Yeah.
Probably the equivalent of our machines, and again, ages and whatever, are somewhere around the 15K.
So you sell a
value.
lot of coffee then.
I can only imagine
Yeah.
when you get to the commercial level, like how much, there's probably an overwhelming amount of decisions to make on like coffee makers. Because even at the consumer level, because we're kind of at that right now, because our one coffee maker broke, and so like right now I'm just doing like a French press.
Mm-hmm.
And but like every once in a while, like Rachel will send me a text of like a different like coffee maker or something like that. And we are just like so overwhelmed of like what we should pick,
I mean, yes and no. I think for people who are opening cafes and don't come from the coffee world, it's exactly that.
Yeah.
There's so many options, and the pricing is confusing.
Right.
as in, like, why is this one this and
Yeah.
this one's double? But generally speaking, you're also paying for, like, you get what you pay
Right.
for when it comes to espresso machines, so it's probably worth paying the double. But anyway, and then I'd say, we have just so much experience now. So when we opened the cafe, or rather when we ordered our equipment for the airport operation, it was like boom, boom, boom. That's,
Yeah,
you know,
this is what we're getting at.
So fourth time's a charm, I guess.
Yep. So that actually brings up a good point. You know, one of the questions that we love to ask business owners, because usually a lot of our audience is people that have small businesses or thinking about getting started. But so you guys started in 2018. When you look back, do you think there's anything that you would have done differently, or maybe changed, or you know, gone about something another way?
Aside from the pandemic.
Yeah, that's the most
There's a
common
big,
thing.
big
Yeah,
chunk in there.
yeah,
We survived.
yeah.
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, of course, yes.
Yeah.
But nothing glaring comes to mind. I feel like we've actually just been talking about this a lot recently, of just like the amount of time it takes to get ahead of whatever you foresee coming.
Right.
So,
Right.
As an example that I think people can relate to is there's a lot of challenges in downtown Burlington right now.
Right.
So we're like, how can we position ourselves to get ahead of those challenges and succeed right through? And
Right.
actually, when we opened our Pine Street location, that's an example of it, because it was 2021 spring when we started talking with our future landlords about the Pine Street opportunity. We built, I mean, that was full on pandemic times. We
Yeah.
were in mess. There were shortages, ordering all the stuff to do the build out, and lots of construction delays. We opened in March of 2022, which, by the way, was still kind of pandemic.
Totally, yeah. Yeah.
And things were weird, but that was, at the time we were like, we need to like get ahead of this, because we're not going to be able to survive just on, you know, at the time our Tech Park location had drastically slowed down, and because no one was working in their offices, and our Maple Street location was rocking and rolling to the best of its ability, but we were kind of stagnant. So that was our answer to that problem, and it's something we just are constantly like, okay, what next? What do we have to be prepared for that we can be prepared for?
Yeah. So how many employees now?
What day is it? No.
Yeah, generally how it goes. Yeah.
So I think we're currently at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus
Okay.
Johnny and myself,
Yeah.
and we'll be about doubling our team.
Right.
We're hiring.
Yeah.
When we open in September.
Yeah.
Is that a
awesome.
challenge? That was
Yes.
going to be one of my questions. Like staffing, one of probably your biggest challenges.
The capital letters, the
Yeah.
biggest challenge. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's for a lot of folks. Yeah.
Everyone in every industry, and I know it's certainly not
Yeah.
just us. And in some ways, I think being a part of an industry that, at least for baristas specifically, you know, it does tend to be a more transitional period in people's lives, regardless of their age. It's either in between or on top of something else, or they've got other commitments, family, work, college. So on one hand, it's totally understandable that generally people are looking for a shorter term employment. On the flip side of that is, you know, we actually require people to the best of their ability kind of commit to about a year,
Right.
and that usually works out, but oh boy, it's
Yeah.
really
It's
a challenge to get the right people.
And this is probably a tough question coming into opening a brand new location, but like crystal ball down the road, do you see more locations or?
No.
Yeah.
Except I've said
Four
that.
and done.
We have said
Each
that
time.
like every time.
Yeah.
Definitely no more locations. I think really the area we've always wanted to grow and has proven to be much more challenging than I think we thought it was going to be in Vermont is the wholesale operations. So
Sure.
we want to have more cafes and more restaurants, more grocery accounts, and getting to that next level is definitely challenging. So that also requires my time and Johnny's time to do that work, at least right now with our current team. And so when we're constantly behind the bar and filling in I was the one in the kitchen this morning.
Yeah.
So when we're constantly being pulled away to cover these other open positions and just make the daily operations go, it's extremely hard to then also work on getting new wholesale accounts. So
Is that challenge with the wholesaling because there's other companies out there or others that maybe were established before you and trying to break down those barriers? What's the biggest hurdle there?
It's that, but it's also in our experience a little bit unique to Vermont on those allegiances. And you know, we came from New York, which is a very competitive market. There's a billion different small roasting companies.
Yeah.
And here it's much more of that, like, oh, we've just been using them for 20 years.
Right.
No way, not even going to have the conversation, which on one hand I completely respect, and on the other hand is just very different from
Right.
what we are used to doing. And the other thing is, we're a state of 600,000 people, so there is a finite number of coffee drinkers, and even a really busy restaurant might only do 10-15 pounds a week, which is great, but it's not. We would accept that, by the way. It's lovely, but it's not high volume like some of the. It's not like we have 100 different high volume restaurants to choose from. We have like 5 high volume restaurants to choose from, and there's 5 specialty coffee roasters or whatever. So that's been the challenge, and also I think we would need to kind of sort of make the jump to next level as far as potentially working with a distributor to really get across New England, and those are great, exciting challenges up ahead, but not something we have the bandwidth for right now.
Nice. All right. Well, outside of work, what do you guys like to do for fun?
So our Mr. Corgi Trooper, he's great. He's 3.5 now. He's full of energy, but he's just awesome, and we do a 4-mile walk with him every day. He could go for 15 miles and not slow down. Those are funny. So, but we do like to spend a lot of time outside and relax. We actually haven't even taken our kayaks out this year. We do love to kayak. And
does the Corgi come?
Sometimes he's a
life
little
jacket.
wiggly. He does have a cute life jacket. But the balance is he's just all over the place. And we genuinely do love food and service and going out to restaurants, going out to eat. We love to go to Montreal when we can, not as of most recently, but we'll get back. We'll get back there. So.
Cool. So tell the people where they can find your coffee.
Yes. So you can find us online, kestrelcoffees.com. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. You can find our coffee in local stores, both Healthy Livings and both City Markets, and the Roots Market in Middlesex, and a few other small mom and pop type shops. And we've got our Mattarello Baked Goods in Winooski carries our coffee. And by the way, if you haven't had their honey cake, highly recommend.
Okay, cool.
And we're in a series of cafes and restaurants in Connecticut as well.
Cool.
And if you're flying in and out of BTV.
Soon, that'll
really
be very
soon.
exciting.
Yes.
All right, well, this has been another episode of Vermonters in Business. As I close every show, if you know somebody out there that's doing outstanding work in their career and in Vermont, give us a holler and we'll get them on the show. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job.
Great job.